What does home mean to you? Have you ever been sick and you've been away from home? It's tough because home's the place you want to be. Around the holidays, you want to be home. It's our central place. It's where we all need to be. And I want to talk to you about it in your morning cup of inspiration. There's a song that says, I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. And the name of that song is Amazing Grace. And I'm going to talk to you about grace today because grace is unmerited favor. It's unearned. It's something that's given to you freely. And in the case of God, He gives us His grace and His forgiveness freely. And there's a story about unmerited favor and about coming home in the Bible. You all have heard this story before, I'm sure. It's the story of the prodigal son. It's found in Luke 15, and starting in verse 11, it talks about a man who had two sons, and this man was well off, and he was good to his sons. And one day the youngest son came to him and said, hey, I want my portion. I want my inheritance, so give it to me. And the man divided it up between that son and the older son, and the younger son went off, and it says he squandered it all in wild living. Everything he had, all the wealth he inherited, he just blew it all. And in verse 17 of Luke chapter 15, we read, when he came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired men have food to spare? And here I am starving to death. Because this young son had to hire himself out to feed pigs. And he longed to fill his stomach, it says, even with what the pigs were eating. And then in verse 17, he thought, what am I doing here? My father has all of this wealth, and maybe I could go back and maybe he could make me like one of his hired men. So he got up and he went to his father. And in verse 20, it says, but while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, kissed him. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe, put it on him, put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. Have you been lost? Do you need to come home? Come home to the Lord. He is home. He made us to want to serve Him and to want to be with Him. And He made us so that He could have fellowship with us. And when we're with Him, when we're truly living close to Him, we are home. If you're not home today, I invite you to come home by asking the Lord to forgive you of your sins and asking Him to come into your heart. Do it today, because there's no place like home. God bless you, and I'll see you soon for another morning cup of inspiration.